What is going on, Rotogrinders? Dean here. It's Dean 7904 if you want to get all technical on me. I still need a haircut. It's 5:30 in the East Coast, 2:30 in the West Coast, 4:30 Tennessee time. Of course, that means time for the flagship show here at Rotogrinders called Grinderslive. Joining me today, his second favorite show that he's going to be on. He's going to be on later talking about sports cards, but I'm sure he's going to be excited about this as well. And great timing with the house phone. We do appreciate that. Who has a house phone these days? Will, Chief Justice, what's going on, dude? Get me out of
much, man. I am
phone.
Doing fantastic. Haven't heard that house phone ring in a long time. Reminds me of my childhood at my grandmother's house. She's in the kitchen, making all the good stuff, rice and gravy, mashed potatoes. If you're down south, collard greens, black-eyed peas, a little bit of fried chicken, a little bit of fried pork chops. Producer Devin, please don't get offended. This is all childhood stuff. A little bit of cornbread. Let's see what else my grandmother would make frequently. And potato salad. Potato salad, yes. But listen, man, this slate has got a whole bunch of that. This slate has got a whole bunch of that. All of the goodies are in one slate. We got value, we got injuries, we got upside. We've got it all, and I'm pretty excited to get rolling with this one.
Yeah, and we should clarify at the top, DK is including the Miami-Philadelphia game. FanDuel is not. FanDuel, their lock starts 7:30. Of course, we turn it over to Crunch Time. Crunch Time, I imagine, is going to be an hour today, taking you guys all the way up to the FanDuel lock at 7:30. If you guys are premium members, there you go. Devin on my ear letting us know. I could be wrong, but I think Andy Means is taking the day off. I think it was STL cards and just STL cards, or maybe I read something incorrect. Roth will be hosting that as well. And of course, if there's any more late-breaking news, if you guys are premium members, they'll help break it down for you guys. Get yourself $10 off your first month. If you want to be a premium member, you can do that a la carte, just basketball or all the sports with the exception of NASCAR. That's on the outside looking in. One thing we don't have a lot of is body parts, or actually bodies in the Miami-Philadelphia game. Again, we're going to cover both DK and FanDuel. DK locks at 7, including the Miami game. And Miami's down to 8 live bodies as far as dressing. That is the minimum. We saw Myers Leonard. He was questionable earlier. Now he's officially out. And instead of saying who's out, let's just say who's in. I presume, do we have an official starting lineup? I saw the beat writer, Ira Winderman, was predicting it would be Olynyk, Precious, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, and Gabe Vincent drawn to start, with Iguodala, Strus, and Silva available off the bench. They are down to 8. Philadelphia on the other side is they're up to 10, I believe, with the addition of Ben Simmons. So we have to start there, at least from a DK perspective, right, Chief?
I think so. In my opinion, my humble opinion, everything's probably going to hinge on this Miami game. And I already know we're going to get this question in the chat. I haven't looked at it. How many Miami players is too many Miami players? I'm thinking 4. I think 3 might be the sweet spot today. That's kind of where I am. I think so here's my opinion. If it's 4, I think you're doing the cheap guys with either Kelly Olynyk or Hero. That's kind of my thought process behind it. So if you've got 4, I'm saying you're probably going to take Duncan Robinson, you're probably going to take Precious, and you're probably going to take like either Olynyk or Hero, and then maybe you take what's his name? Iguodala. Like Iguodala is another.
I don't want
like
Iguodala.
He's 3K. No, I don't want to play Iguodala either. But I'm saying we've seen this on these type of slates where Precious gets you like 35 at 3K, right? And then Olynyk gets you like 35 for 5K. And then Duncan Robinson gets you like 30. And then now, it's like, do I take one more cheap guy or do I take Hero? Well, Hero's probably got the upside, but is his upside capped at 40 today, 45, 50? We've still got KD that we want to play. Karis LeVert may go a little under-owned. Do we want to play Jokic? You've got all these factors that are going to work together, so that's why in my head I'm thinking 3 feels like the sweet spot because I still like other guys from other places. I don't want to play everybody from Miami. I like other guys. I think 3 is the sweet spot today.
I'm trying to find my Court IQ page that I was dealing with earlier as far as the Miami
you won't
side.
Find much on Miami. It won't populate.
Okay, so I didn't kick anybody off the court. What's the point? Like you said, you're going to get nothing. And I ran it back the last 2 years as well too. And I just ran it as is. And obviously usage is going to change because Miami's without their top usage guys. That's just the way it is. They're without Dragic, without Butler, without Adebayo, without Nunn. Nunn would love this, by the way. He's so mad he's not playing today.
Oh, boy.
He would love to hear, just shoot as many times as you want, have a good time. Precious Achiuwa, like basically still with him salary. He's gonna. I think he's a lock for like. Well, I don't want to say lock. I mean, last night people are gonna say, "Well, this isn't gonna work because it blew up last night in Philadelphia's face." Like, different scenario, obviously. One less body too. I think Philadelphia had 9, for what it's worth.
Yes.
So yeah, and even in blowout, even if this game completely blows out, 2 of the starters have to play. And like, it's not going to be Iguodala. Like, if this game does blow out, I think he's the first one off the court. He may not even start. I don't know. Silva's the guy I wanted to play in preseason. He never I'm still mad about that. I loved him in preseason.
And he's 3K. He's 3K.
Yeah. He's a fun energy player. Precious is an energy player too. He's not going to hit any threes for you, but all energy, lots of effort. He's like,
let me say this, Dean.
Basically.
Let me say this. And I hate to interject. I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
Today still may be the day to play a little bit of Silva. 3K. If you're mass multi-entering people, you don't have to get like 15%. You get you like 5 or 6% of Silva today. And if he goes off for 30, then you've got yourself in a good spot at the end of the night. With no Myers Leonard is the key there.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
No Myers Leonard is the key. Like, Chris Silva may actually have to play today. In preseason, they still had pretty much a full team. Didn't see much of the court. Dean, you may be onto something here, and I talked about that a little bit on like the morning grind. But I think Silva may be in play at 3K as a really low end cheapie. But you're only playing him on a speculative status. Like, I don't think he's guaranteed 30 minutes. But if they get blown out and he plays like 18 to 20 minutes in garbage time, like, maybe he still gets there. I think in mass multi-entry, you need to play him.
We'll talk FanDuel in a second, obviously. You want to say hello to chat? What's up, chat? Hey, YouTube. Feel free to like, subscribe, turn on notifications. We do appreciate that. Of course, you guys know, you've been here before. Devin, our fabulous multitasking producer, he's going to join the show with about 15 minutes or so, give or take. And he's currently right now he's compiling all the good questions you guys are asking in chat. If it's not asked, he's the hockey goalie. Blame him. It's his fault. We asked 2 things. Tell us what site. Are you playing on FanDuel? Are you playing on DK? Are you playing on Yahoo? And is it a tournament? Is it a cash game? That's important. That helps us answer the question. Dollar for dollar, I think Precious is clearly the best play. 3.1K on DK. Kelly Olynyk has a reasonable price at 5.3K. To be fair, he was dealing with a groin, but he's probably expected to give it a go. I imagine he's fine. Duncan Robinson's reasonable price. The tricky thing with Duncan Robinson is he a guy that creates his own shot, or is he just basically his role, and that's that, just hitting open threes, which is something he can do, and he'll probably chuck a few more. But also he needs guys to get him open because, let's go ahead and double down on, Gabe Vincent. And then now we're going to kick it to, Robinson to hit an open 3, probably not happening. So I think Robinson's fine. Hero, he did get a bump. His price is up to 6.7K, but if this game is close, he theoretically can score 40 points in the bucket and have like 50 DK points. Like, I think that's in the realm. That's in the realm of possibilities. So I wouldn't be shocked by that price, 6.7K. We've seen him usually in the 5s. And then anybody else Vincent, I'm not excited about. I was looking at his college numbers too. I was looking at his numbers as far as with Miami as well. And I think it was like 0.6 fantasy points per minute. Let's go ahead and fire it up. Let's extend it back on the old Court IQ to last season as well. Try to get as big a sample as possible. Good luck with that. And also worth noting about Precious, in this season, 121 minutes, 0.96 fantasy points per minute. That's really, really solid. Vincent, 98 minutes, and going back to last year, is at 0.65 fantasy points per minute. Not terribly exciting. Iguodala, 0.78, which is actually higher than I thought. How many minutes do you think they can push Iggy to? And you think he starts?
Well, I mean, they got 8 bodies, and in my estimation, I'm thinking Tyler Hero plays 40 minutes. Let's go 40. Gabe Vincent. As a matter of fact, Hero may play like 42, 44 today. Gabe Vincent's probably going to be around 40. Duncan Robinson is probably for sure going to be around 40. Kelly Olynyk's probably going to play 38, 39. Precious is probably around 35, which means Chris Silva's probably going to get 18 to 20 minutes. Iggy will probably get 28 to 30 minutes. And then Strauss is probably around 15 to 16. That's my guess without looking at the minutes projections. How far off am I?
All right. This is we gave him a few minutes this year. And of course, we're going to bring SBK on, Keats from the projection team, in just a few minutes. And I'll have him like dig into this even more as far as the Miami rotation. Did they officially kick? Yeah. Okay, so Strus they have for 23 minutes. Just a 3-point shooter. That's all Strus is. He's a guy that he's going to chuck up threes, essentially. He's got a chance to make 5 or 6. If he doesn't make them, he's not getting there. If he does, sure, he pays it off. He's still a minimum. We got Silva at 18, Strus at 23, Vincent at 26, Iggy at 28, Precious at 34. The only way Precious doesn't play 34 minutes is if he fouls out. Super, super handsy. And he's going up against Embiid, who draws a lot of fouls. So that may happen. He absolutely can draw like 2 fouls within the first 3 minutes. Wouldn't surprise me. Hero we have projected for 38. Robinson for 37. Olynyk at 36. So yeah, sure, close enough. We'll talk to SBK about that in a second. Do we assume on the other side, like Embiid, on a back-to-back? I'm not sure if you watched the last back-to-back he played. It looked horrendous. He was lethargic and just terrible. Last night he barely even played, or like 3 or 4 minutes in the second half, or 5 minutes, whatever it was. So it's essentially Doc knows they're in the middle of, I think, 5 of 7. And it's a back-to-back as well, too. And the NBA schedule doing them no favors. I assume, and they were down by 35, getting absolutely walloped, obviously. So I assume that if they need Embiid for 34 minutes tonight, 35, he's fine and good to go. Run back. Do you like the run back as far as the Philadelphia side if you're going to play 3-4 guys in Miami?
I mean, I don't hate it. I think Ben Simmons should definitely be in play today. Maxi's been doing really well. I mean, we still got him projected 21%. I like it. I don't think Embiid's necessary today. I don't feel like I have to have Embiid. Like, yeah, I think he's going to put up big numbers. I'm more than willing to take Jokic today at 11K against Brooklyn. So that's kind of where I am. Nothing against Embiid. I mean, I love the price. He could put up 60. If he puts up 60, hey, I tip my hat to the guy, but I don't feel like Embiid is completely necessary. He's at 25%. I think that's definitely reasonable for the size slate we have. But in my opinion, I think Jokic is the best play on the slate. I'm going to take my chances with him. I've got another backup center that I like as well. Matter of fact, we might as well go ahead and talk about it because we're on the same position. Miles Turner looks to be in a fantastic spot today. Looks to be in a fantastic spot, and we're going to have very low ownership on Miles Turner. Dean and I talked about this pre-show. Does he have the usage? No. But the fantasy points per minute are there. 1.61 fantasy points per minute with Oladipo and Warren off the slate, with Warren off the floor. You may be saying, yes, Chief, I know that's probably a small sample size. Well, it is. They've only played about 10 or 11 games. He's played 58 minutes. But guess what? Everybody's running to play Malcolm Brogdon today, and he's only had 47 minutes off the court with these same guys, and he's averaging 1.33. Sabonis, 82.3 minutes. 1.38 fantasy points per minute. Turner's the forgotten son in this lineup. And in fact, he's averaging the most fantasy points per minute. Just to strengthen my case, Bradley Beal did come in a lot higher owned than I thought he would yesterday. But Bradley Beal was averaging around 1.76 or 73 fantasy points per minute with Bryant and Westbrook off the court. And we saw what he was able to do in a half, was pretty much, going to cruise to 70 if it wasn't a blowout. I think Miles Turner is probably the sneaky center on the slate, has very low ownership in a really good game environment, and he's the forgotten son of the Indiana Pacers with Victor Oladipo off the court. I will have myself some shares of Miles Turner today.
We're not certain Oladipo's off the court for the record, but he hasn't played a back-to-back since the beginning of 2019 or something like that. It's been speculated it's a late game, so we're probably not going to know, but he probably doesn't play. We shall see. Stay tuned on that. Drummond is questionable with his Achilles on a back-to-back. Garland is out with his shoulder, and Sexton has been ruled out. That may change after the game locks. I don't know, but Sexton's been ruled out. Jesus, it burned me again. Like I keep playing Sexton when he doesn't play basketball. Are you sitting down because LeBron James and Anthony Davis are both questionable tonight? Are you going to be okay with that news?
Oh, I had no idea. Man, that really throws a wrench in my plans.
What are we doing, Lakers? Come on, stop this. So this is kind of important because they play against Houston. John Wall's questionable. Eric Gordon's questionable. That game is mostly, if everybody plays, I don't think I care a lot about that game. Everybody's just kind of priced where they should be priced. And sure, you can play guys in tournaments, get stealing games. But if we get John Wall out, if we get Gordon out, then all of a sudden Harden becomes interesting. If James is out, you play Davis. If Davis is out, you play James. There you go. Simmons and Embiid are back tonight. Jingle and Joe Ingles, last I saw, he's still questionable with his Achilles. If he doesn't play, we saw Jordan Clarkson go off last game. Now he's got the old revenge game today, if that does anything for you. I think that's all the body parts, but that's a good segue because SBK, we're going to bring Keach on.
Oh,
all right,
man.
you were probably just scrambling a few minutes ago, or maybe you had a contingency plan in place with Leonard being out for Miami. Of course, Keach versus one of the guys here on the projections team. Jamino is on that. Tuttle is on that. Allen's on that. I think Andy Means helps work on that. First of all, how you doing? Secondly, talk to me about the Heat.
Doing all right, guys. The Heat have been quite an adventure for me dating back to last night. I think this was the team I spent the most time on in terms of getting initial projections ready for today. But now with Myers Leonard out, I mean, we still have Tyler Herro at 38 minutes, Kelly Olynyk at 36. Those are kind of like the two clear-cut winners of this whole situation, although Duncan Robinson, Andre Iguodala, Precious in there, all of whom are projected to play at least 28 minutes, Robinson at 37, Precious at 34. And now with Leonard out, we have a bit more Chris Silva on the back end. That's kind of the biggest change. So he's still not really projected as like somebody you can kind of trust in DFS tonight, but anybody who's covered preseason NBA the last couple of seasons knows that Chris Silva has a permitted upside. So if by some chance he gets some run, he'd definitely be kind of appealing, but we're just not projecting him to get much at this point.
Is there anything else that you're monitoring besides the Miami? Obviously, only 8 bodies, and you have to play 240 minutes. Is that correct? Is that right? 5 times 48? No? There you go. Yep. Oh, I'm sure you know this. You're projecting this all the time. You're trying to figure out 240 precisely. So what else are we monitoring? Our projections, I believe, we're assuming that Oladipo is out, right? Is that what we're doing? Right? Correct. We don't always do that, but I think tonight we made that call. Is that correct?
Yeah, we don't always do that. I mean, generally if a player is questionable, we'll project them, but we also kind of take it on a case-by-case basis. I mean, the NBA is weird, and you kind of get some, some reports from beats or whatever it may be that kind of can make you lean one way or the other on a questionable tag. So just given the circumstances, Oladipo hasn't played in a back-to-back since 2019 since he's been injured. So that factor, along with the fact that all of these starters really played pretty big minutes last night, and Oladipo himself kind of saying post-game that he wouldn't commit to playing, led us to not project him for right now.
Yeah, I mean, who is there a main benefactor there? I mean, it's hard to get excited about anybody really, but everybody gets like little incremental bumps. I guess one of the holidays, I suppose, McDermott maybe to some degree, but it's hard to get thrilled about anybody as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, like even if Oladipo plays, I mean, Sabonis and Brogdon, like they aren't really impacted that much. So, I mean, they're really fantastic plays regardless of the situation. They're both playing monster minutes on a nightly basis. We have them both projected for 38 minutes, and that was the case before we removed Oladipo this morning. Aaron Holiday is the guy whose projection has changed the most, but while his fantasy points per minute rate is a bit better with Oladipo off the floor and TJ Warren off, he's still not somebody who I don't think you're going to be all that excited to roster, but he's pretty much priced near the minimum. If he plays 30 minutes, I mean, there's obviously a path to success there. Edmund Sumner is the other guy who could potentially kind of eat into that. But, yeah, it's kind of weird that a guy is kind of – Oladipo is pretty impactful. And even with his absence here, there's really not anything that kind of stands out as like a, clear kind of must-play situation.
Yeah, I think Justin Holiday at 34, we're rejecting 34 minutes there under the assumption that Oladipo is out on a rough FanDuel position. Again, you don't have the Miami game on FanDuel and at a rough position as well, 4.5K. That's like my most appealing play. And I'm not enthused about it, but if you can get in and out of that position fairly cheap and like not get completely pummeled, I think I'm okay with that. Anything else that we're monitoring? I guess, if Drummond doesn't play, is it going to be JaVale, right? We're just going to – and he's also a power forward on FanDuel tonight. What?
JaVale so crazy. So crazy.
Oh, boy.
So is that what we're waiting for?
Yeah, I mean, that's another big one. We do have, for premium users, we do have what if projection set up for this with Drummond out. And in that scenario, we have JaVale projected for 23 minutes. So it's still not like we're projecting him to see Drummond-esque, workload. We have Thon Maker, back in the rotation, assuming Drummond's out, which will kind of potentially make things a little bit more murky for McGee. But just given JaVale's kind of potential per minute upside, I mean, even if he plays 23 or, if that gets stretched out a bit, 25, 26, something like that, he definitely obviously has the upside to be worth it. Obviously, Larry Nance gets a small bump in minutes, and his FPPM rate goes up slightly. But other than that, there's really, we have more Dean Wade. It kind of gets kind of ugly pretty quick. But JaVale, kind of the winner there. He figured to start. But yeah, that power forward tag on FanDuel is bizarre. We were talking about that earlier, how weird that is.
Yeah, I feel like I heard somebody say that like FanDuel is like fudging it just because like they're looking at the slate and like they kind of understand like making positions stronger and weaker and like trying to bolster stuff. I don't know why. I feel like maybe I'm just making that up, but I feel like I heard somebody mention that to me. And I'm like, oh, I guess that kind of sort of all makes sense. Chief, you got anything for SBK, or are we gonna get out of here?
Weird question here, SBK. What are we going to do with Hamidou Diallo? Inquiring minds want to know, is this real or is this just some outlier performance? I mean, I see that he's averaging actually more fantasy points per minute than SGA, very marginal, might I add. But what are we going to do with Hamidou Diallo? Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah, so I guess like maybe I had just kind of missed the box scores he had put up, but when I was doing projections last night for today, I noticed that he had put up 240 fantasy. I'm like, what was going on? And then I realized like I think it's a complete outlier. I don't expect it to happen again. I think we have it projected for 22 minutes, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
I mean, 22. I did bump his FPPM rate a bit just to. I mean, he's kind of warranted it over the last couple of games. His price also has spiked. But yeah, he's not somebody I'm itching to roster tonight, but definitely something to kind of monitor a little bit over the next couple of games to see if that was just kind of a random spark or if, maybe there's actually something to that.
We kept you long. I appreciate you sticking with us. Hopefully nothing too crazy goes down for you, but I know you guys are ready for it. As far as the projections, we appreciate your time. Good luck tonight. Crush it.
Thanks, guys. You too.
All right. But we should mention about the JaVale thing, right? He has asthma, so that's why he doesn't play a ton of minutes. Like that's historically. I think he played like 30 minutes or so back in like 2011. There was a game, but he's also a guy, especially with FanDuel scoring, he gets going from a stocks perspective. He can put up 7 or 8 blocks and steals in 25 minutes. And again, I think he's 4 or 5. I do not see his DK price. I don't happen to have that up. I'm assuming he's a center on DK. Trying to pull that up here on the fly as far as he's 3.8 on DK. So yeah. And like you're not, I know the name Thon Maker was mentioned, like he's 3K on DK, but he probably would play like 20 minutes or something like that. But he's not nearly the fantasy player that's obviously McGee is. You know what's so weird about that game? 208 total, by the way. It's an old school. It's a throwback game. So Cleveland this year, small sample size theater. I don't know how real it is or is not. They have the absolute best defensive rating and the absolute worst offensive rating. Did you notice that? The offense, I believe. The defense,
I had it pulled up last night. I've already closed it, but I didn't like actually pay attention to it. I thought it was someone worse than them, but okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Philadelphia is. Hold on. Let me get this right. Yes, the Knicks are right above them, and I blame RJ Barrett for that. RJ, come on, it's not happening, RJ. Like he's a shooter.
Stop it.
They can't shoot. I know you have all his cards.
Thank you. Please don't mess up my investments.
I just moved the needle on Star Stock. Yeah. All right. So what do we? But here's the thing: like when you see 208, we can't play anybody in a 208 game, and these teams like playing a half-court offense. But if we get 3 main pieces out for Cleveland, I guess point Osman, point to Dotson.
No, it's going to be Dotson, I think. I mean, first of all, let's not even say main pieces because this is their B team. Garland and Sexton are already out. No Exum, no Dellavedova. Like this is all they're already down massive amounts of talent and bodies. But I do think it would be the Damian Dotson show. I mean, I'm saying in terms of most ball handling.
Yeah, it's not going to be the Isaac Okoro show.
I don't think so.
He's so bad fantasy points per minute. But
so Isaac Okoro is the same as Chris Hogan in NFL. Plays the whole game and gets you no fantasy points. Just terrible.
He's got out there rebar, exercising. He's out there exercising is what you're saying?
Yes. Listen, I don't like to bring it up because listen, that's his patented slogan. I mean, that thing is, that's the shot heard around the world. Chris Hogan's just out here exercising. I mean, that's got to be like the quote of, I guess that would have been 2019. That was definitely the DFS quote of 2019.
John Brown was exercising last week. Right? The way he ran like every single route possible. All
right, we're off the rails. NFL, back to NBA. Dean, let's do this.
Yeah, so Devin, our producer, is going to be joining the show in about 9 minutes or so. Keep firing those questions to Devin. We appreciate broader questions. We'll do this guy or that guy, but broader questions are more, they help other people listening as well. And tell us what site they're on, and also tell us if it's for tournament or cash games. Let me ask you, do we care if Ingles is out tonight? Do you all of a sudden get interested in Clarkson? Because Utah otherwise is like one of the more predictable rotations. I will say if Drummond's out, Gobert might get like 27 rebounds. Like he's just going to rebound like crazy, right?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think, he would be in play. But like I said, I'm not going to play him tonight. I'm staking my flag on a couple guys, especially with JaVale McGee being at power forward on FanDuel. That's exceptional. He'll be in play. Like I said, my two centers tonight, Jokic and Turner. That's where I'm going. Not trying to spread it out too thin. It's a 5-game slate. Like if you want to hit the nuts on a 5-game slate, nail your core. If you nail the core, you've got a chance to take down, first, third, fourth, fifth, 10th, 12th, 21st. It might be spread out, but that's the approach I'm taking. And so I'm not spreading it thin at all. Those are my only two centers that I have in my pool. Literally.
So Prize Picks, let's go ahead and throw that promo up on the screen because you mentioned Jokic, and I know Prize Picks are just picking guys over or under a certain number as far as fantasy points, as far as actual points. You like Jokic and you like Durant, so I assume you like the game stack. Tell me why you like that game environment. Of course, no Kyrie, still not available there for Brooklyn. So why do you like Jokic and Kevin Durant this evening?
Well, I don't think they have anyone to stop him. And I was trying not to make this a trend on my own because we know that, Brooklyn has been pretty susceptible to big performances from centers over the past 3 years. Let's go 3 years. It's probably about 4, but let's go 3. And nothing's changed. Jared Allen is still playing center for the Brooklyn Nets. And I'm not saying he's bad offensively, and I'm not even saying he's bad defensively. What I'm saying is from a fantasy perspective, we get big-time performances from centers. I'm going to go and reference one performance in particular. Most recently, we were able to get an upside game from Al Horford against the Brooklyn Nets. An upside game from Al Horford. I'm just going to play as much Jokic as I can, and I'm going to ride the wave. I think this is a big performance. I mean, in terms of points, and essentially, when we're looking at Jokic's, I think 51 points is easy in this spot. I mean, we know he's probably going to be almost at a triple-double most nights. And so, now you got to think, okay, so if he's playing a team where he should be able to score the ball a little bit more, if he scores 25 points, 12 rebounds, 12 assists, I mean, he's pretty much already hit it. A block, a steal, bam, we're right there. So that's why I like Jokic. And then KD is, it's self-explanatory. The shot attempts are going to be there with Kyrie out. I'm expecting him to take 20-plus shot attempts. I'm expecting him to shoot very efficiently. And I'm expecting him to get there like as usual, score 28 to 35 points on, 12 for 21 shooting, 7 for 7 at the line. And we just keep rolling it. A few rebounds, a few assists, a block, a steal, and he's right there. So I've taken the over on both of these guys. I think it's going to be, big time performances from both of these stars.
You're stacking that game. Who's your third favorite player? I don't like any of the cheapies really in this game so much. I guess it's LeVert, but he's kind of expensive too. And then all of a sudden you might be running out of money. Of course, it's easier to do on DK where you have all those cheapies from Miami. Third favorite player in the Denver-Brooklyn game.
I'm going to go LeVert as my third favorite play in terms of the high end. On the other side, though, I actually do have some interest in Denver tonight. I like Jamal Murray. And if Gary Harris is questionable, if he happens to be out, I do like myself some Will Barton. And then now you're going to get a little bit more Monty Morris off the bench. So just keep that in mind. Gary Harris is questionable. If he sits tonight, Will Barton and Monty Morris are going to be in play. And then if you want to go a little bit further down the list, especially if you're saying, hey, maybe I fade one of these Miami guys. Now, I don't think you should, But PJ Dozier at 3,700 could come into play here as well. But I don't think that's necessary with the Miami value. Monty Morris, Will Barton, those would be my other favorite players on the other side in that game, outside of Jamal Murray and Jokic.
30 minutes into the show, my bad. We've neglected to mention San Antonio and OKC. Of course, the San Antonio side gets a bump with the double Ds. DeMar DeRozan's not playing this evening. Bumps across the board. We did see Trey Lyles draw the start last game. I mean, he eked his way, played like 30 minutes or so, like 20 fantasy points. He's still minimum. And I think the Miami value is better than Trey Lyles. I would assume you agree with that as far as DK. FanDuel, I don't know how much you need it. It depends on also if like JaVale becomes the thing, if he gets unleashed. Murray disappointed last time out. Walker was really, really good. He got hurt in that game, but he did come back the last few minutes. I assume he is fine. You got big body Keldon Johnson. And LMA, LaMarcus Aldridge, the last man still shooting those like 15-foot fadeaway jumpers.
Dial back the clock, man. Dial back the clock.
I mean, it's the most inefficient shot, but it's so beautiful. I love when he takes them. Like, I mean, it's terrible from a math perspective. But...
And with DeRozan out, he's going to take even more of those 15-footers, Dean. On DK, I like him on DK and FanDuel. He's probably not going to get a whole lot of ownership tonight, but I like LMA. I think he's a great play with DeRozan out.
Yeah, talk me through the San Antonio side, and I'm SGA. San Antonio used to be a team we think of as like, oh, you got to be kidding me! Who keeps calling? Seriously?
Dean, do you have a house phone?
Yeah, it's not worth getting into right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Dean Shavelson, that's Dean 78904 if you want to get all technical, technically has a house phone. From what in the world?
It's a long. Gosh. We only got 17 minutes left, and I would love to do a 20 minutes of my house phone.
It's okay. No explanation needed, Dean. I know you're in the CIA or something. That's why you can't get that haircut. Anyway. Back to the San Antonio game. I do like the San Antonio game as well. I mean, obviously, we've already got Murray projected for pretty good ownership, especially on DK, 21%. Got him projected for around 40 fantasy points. So I like that. Even though Lonnie Walker put up a pretty big game, I think, the Sharps are going to say, Lonnie Walker may not be completely necessary. He's only going to be 2.4% owned. Doesn't really have a projection that's going to outperform the salary there. Trey Lyles projected to 18%. I was shocked to see that with the Miami value, but that just means people want to jam in an extra stud. So they're probably thinking Sabonis, KD, another one of those, expensive players. And then another guy that I like, I think he's a better play on FanDuel, but I will have some Patty Mills shares in my FanDuel pool tonight. He just screams to me to be one of those 5-game slate. If he cruises to 30 at the point guard position tonight, may actually work out for us on the FanDuel slate, because remember, the FanDuel slate does not have the Miami value. So just wanted to put that out there. Those are a couple of guys I'm looking at on FanDuel.
First blood revenge game for George Hill, right? This is the first time he's playing San Antonio since he's left the team. I'm pretty sure. He's still a little bit cheap. I mean, he's an old dude and he's only going to play so many minutes, maybe 28, 29 or something like that. But he's, still the price kind of bakes that in. And Horford's reasonably cheap too, or I don't mind. Nobody likes to play out Horford, but I'm okay with it. I don't fear the San Antonio defense. We're going to pull Devin up in just a second. And the chat just went nuts as far as making fun of me about my phone. Rightfully so, by the way. You guys are all on the right.
Hold on. Let me fill the people in. Let's take them behind the curtain. So first of all, this phone went off in pre-show. I thought it was a phone at the RG office. Needless to say, Dean did not tell me or inform me that it was actually his phone. I said, oh, somebody's got a house phone? Oh, yeah. He just glossed over it. Lo and behold, it's Dean's phone. This is incredible, people. This is incredible.
Is Devin available by chance?
Yeah. Dean, I don't know how you can expect us to get any questions when you got a house phone going off.
It's a rotary, by the way, just so you know.
Of course it is.
But before you start firing up some questions, I did see one I think it's important to mention. Somebody's talking about, can I fade all the Miami chalk in a single entry? No. Like, this isn't, like the Jets where you're going to score 0 points, or this isn't like the Marlins versus Justin Verlander, where you're just going to get shut out. Like, no matter how terrible that team may or may not be, they're going to score like 80 points.
I was going to say that feels like recency bias about the Philly chalk last night not coming.
Well, even a couple guys got there from Philly, like they have to. Like the way they're priced and how many points they're going to score, there has to be at least a couple guys that get there. It's just the way the math works. There's no other way. I can't imagine a scenario where they don't get like they hit like 30 points. It's just not going to happen. All right, fire up some questions, Devin.
Hero especially. Mike wants to know pivots off potential chalk value while we're on the subject.
All right, what do you have for us, Chief?
Well, I mean, I definitely think it all depends on what happens in some of these other games. But I mean, if you want to go straight up right now, I know Will Barton's 5,700. I think he's a value play. I really do on DK. I liked him anyway. Going down to the Cleveland game, Damian Dotson, I think he's in play. We don't have a great projection on him, but he's going to play all the minutes he can handle. So I like him. Trying to give you a couple from all these games here. If you're going to San Antonio, obviously, Trey Lyles, Rudy Gay, if you want to get a little froggy. He didn't play a whole lot of minutes the other game. And then, like I said, if you believe in Hamidou Diallo, if you think another big performance is coming, we've got him at 0.10% owned. The projection isn't great, but if he puts up another one of those big-time performances, 5,300, I don't hate that. And then I think we're kind of just, running out of steam as we get to the end because Justin Holiday's 5K. I expect him to be more like 40, 200, 45. He's just not there. So I think that's kind of where the ship runs out of steam.
Better FanDuel play for Holiday as opposed to DK. And I just want to mention this real quick, Devin, just showing how the builds are completely different. I'm looking at the ownership stuff on DK. We're seeing Precious at 46%, Olynyk at 43%. This is for tournaments. Hero at 32%, Duncan Robinson at 28%. All four guys play for the Miami Heat. And then we get Sabonis, then we get Embiid, then we get Brogdon, then we get Durant. As far as FanDuel, our highest projected owned player currently is Karis LeVert. Then Sabonis, then Brogdon, and Holiday, a lot of the Indiana guys. This is under the assumption that Oladipo does not play this evening.
Just
we didn't talk about Curry.
Two total different nights of basketball, depending on what site you're on.
Completely different. Go ahead, Devin.
Not Sure is their name. Would like to know, why does Simmons project so poorly with all those guys out? He's worth a look at 5% in your thoughts?
Absolutely.
Nope.
Absolutely. I mean, tournament player extraordinaire. With him, what you're looking for is 15 points, 15 real points, and then he'll just get there on everything else. 10, 12 rebounds, 10, 12 assists, a block of steal. I mean, he'll drop 60 with 15 real points. Like, that's Ben Simmons. He's not scoring a whole lot of real points, but he's going to have the peripherals. That's what you're looking for.
All right, Ryan wants to know, Trey Lyles as a pivot for the value play on DK?
No, it's a no for. Precious is going to crush him.
I don't like Lyles over the Miami value.
All right. Otto wants to know, on Yahoo tournaments, would you, Chief, rather want Embiid and Precious or Sabonis and Maxey? And that includes Jokic in those lineups.
Oh, good question. Sabonis and Maxey for sure.
All right. Otto was listening in when you started touching on that question earlier and said, make sure you include Jokic on that. Michael, for cash, KD or Sabonis?
Oh, man. That must be DK, right? Because
I would assume so.
Positions on FanDuel. I think KD's they're a tick more secure. I really do. It's a back-to-back for Indiana that they haven't really cared about that. He's probably going to play 37 minutes once again. That's Sabonis. But I like Sabonis, but I think Durant's just a tick higher for me. Did you have a thought on that there?
No, I trust Durant more. I mean, I know they're without Oladipo, but, this team doesn't have Kyrie and, Dinwiddie's already out for the season. So KD it's bombs away for KD for sure.
I feel like if you're not playing Sabonis, you definitely want to get some Brogdon, though. I feel like one of those two are going to do well tonight.
Yeah, you got to like them both. K-Mac
wants to know, Diallo and Lonnie Walker, or... Sorry, this was a weirdly phrased question. The ors are swapped. And the ands are where the ors should be. So we're going to read this one as is. Diallo or Lonnie Walker and Boogie or Horford. So...
You're the Hamidou guy. I've not really considered Hamidou Diallo tonight. I think he's fine, but I'm probably not going to make my pool.
I don't like the combinations of either of these on this slate. I think we may need to rework that a little bit.
Yep. K-Bank, why don't you drop that one in chat again? We'll see if we can clean that one up.
Cousins' revenge game. Did he ever play a game for the Lakers? Yeah, I think he got a ring, right? I assume he did. I don't know.
Jason wants to know, DK tournament, Wiggins and SGA or Barton and Brogdon?
Oof.
Barton Brogdon. Yes, Barton Brogdon.
I really like SGA tonight. But
Chief, your love for Barton, does it get tarnished a little bit with Gary Harris if he comes back in?
Nope. I like Barton since yesterday.
All right. Donnie wants to know, with Gary Harris being out, does that change anything for FanDuel? So I guess Barton would be the main.
Yeah, so Barton's a small forward at 5,700. I mean, I think he'd probably get a small bump. I think what it does is it opens up another value point guard. So I'm just gonna like you have Monty Morris maybe playing 28 minutes now, and I think I'd play Monty Morris over Aaron Holiday even at 3,500 on FanDuel. Like nothing against Aaron Holiday, but how many times has Aaron Holiday talk just, I mean, let us down big time? Like I in fact, I'm just going to X him out right now. I'm not playing any Aaron Holiday, but I do have Monty Morris, Patty. Let me get rid of George Hill. I'm not worried about that revenge. Schroeder, I'm going to leave in. Anyway, so you guys kind of hear me whittling down my pool as we speak.
I think everything you just said I could apply to Drummond. I'm better off every time just Xing him out of my pool.
Not really though, because he has those ceiling games.
I've been
By the way, the
too
update on
rewarded.
Drummond he's still a game time decision for what it's worth. That game is not typical.
What an
7:30.
update.
Yeah, I mean that's what was put out there.
But I will say this, on FanDuel, you get the benefit of receiving the news in time, hopefully, which is outstanding. So I did want the Miami game on FanDuel, but I currently have JaVale McGee in my pool. I'm going to leave him in there until we get some solidified news.
I'm not here to question you, but I just pulled up the the situation room here we have at RG. Just kind of talks about all the guys that are in, other guys that are out, guys that are questionable.
The body parts.
There you go. That's another way of saying it. Harris is still questionable. Are we sure? Is he officially ruled out?
I think that was a sort of questioning if he is out. Yeah, the Harris is still questionable.
Yeah.
Let's be clear about that.
I want to. Okay, because I wasn't. That one just kind of stuck past me for some reason.
Good to know. Good to know. Friend of the show, Flo wants to know: Patty Mills, Maxey, or Dotson for a DK tournament?
Patty Mills, Maxey, or Dotson? I think if it's tournaments, I think you still go Maxey. I think Maxey has a little bit more upside than Dotson, but they're two different prices. So like Maxey's 55, Dotson's 5K, and then I think Patty's 51. So out of that group, I'd for sure get rid of Patty because he doesn't have more upside than these other two. And then I think I'd take Maxey over Dotson. But Dotson and Maxey are close to me today because Ben Simmons is back.
Hey, Devin, I just want to ask, Will, we haven't really touched on Steph Curry. I think that's important. And you talk about the Pacers. You like Turner, of course, Sabonis and Brogdon, really solid pieces. Do you like Curry as a potential run back here? Anybody else as far as the Golden State side? We talked about Wiggins. Oubre maybe on FanDuel. I don't think he closed last game. I want to say that Bazemore closed over him because Oubre has been horrific as far as making his threes. Thoughts as far as Curry and just the Warriors in general?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, Curry's kind of the main guy. I don't think I'm playing anyone else from the Warriors today. Wiggins, Oubre. I mean, Oubre on both sides is fairly priced, but I'm not going to play any other Warriors. It's Curry or bust for me. I do think Curry's probably going to be a little bit tough to get to on DK if you want to have what I consider a quality build, because I think KD's still a better play than Curry today, straight up. But I think if you're playing like a Curry KD, then now you're probably going to take away one of your other mid-range guys that you could play. So now you may be squeezing in another 3K guy to try to get a little better build. And I don't like that. So I think for me, if I'm playing Curry, then I'm probably not playing KD. I'm playing Brogdon, Sabonis, and then building that tandem around the Miami pieces. I don't think I play KD and Curry together today.
All right, JC wants to know, is there a game you're Xing out tonight, even on a 6-gamer?
I mean, I wouldn't say
Boston, Chicago.
Well, yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I'll say this. If everybody is healthy and playing in the Lakers-Houston game, I'm not terribly enthused about anybody. Like, I might just sprinkle in if LeBron just sort of fits, or if we don't have news yet as far as if Davis or LeBron is out, I'll take a shot. Like, worst case scenario, you have LeBron. Well, worst case scenario, I guess he doesn't play, but I think he's going to play. I think he's more likely to play than Davis. Who knows? But it's a weird game because there's some great fantasy players in that game. But I just think that if everybody's healthy, and again, we don't know that. Is Wall's currently questionable? Gordon's still questionable. Things can open up. But as of right now, I'm more excited to watch that game than the roster players in that game. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, well, I really like that game if the guys are out, and I talked about that already on the podcast. It's Utah-Cleveland for me, but if Drummond's out, then I think that changes it. Like, you need to consider JaVale McGee. But other than that, and I am going to have some Dotson because he's going to play all the minutes he can handle. he's essentially almost their best guard right now. So, but overall, I don't think I'm going to have anyone from Utah. Like 0 shares of Utah today.
What if Ingles is out? Eddie Clarkson?
I don't think I need Clarkson at 5,600 today.
All right.
He's got the upside, but I don't think I need it.
All right, you all know the drill. If you got your question answered, hit the like button.
Yes.
And what if they didn't, though? What if you denied it? Did they hit the down? What are the rules there? What's the
Hit the
protocol?
like button either way, everyone.
There you go, Devin. All over it.
All right, Edwin wants to know, DK, would you play Jokic and Turner in the same single-entry GPP lineup?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, DJ wants to know, DK single-entry tournament. Good strategy to fade all projected chalk in the Miami-Philly game.
No.
Yeah, we touched on that.
Okay, great.
I just can't imagine. I don't see a scenario where like all of them don't get there. Somebody asked in chat, is happening to notice who's precious. Well, you're all over it, Devin. You're typing the people.
Come on,
who's
Dean.
Precious?
Stay in your lane, Dean.
When you say multitasking, we mean it. Literally multitasking.
Don't be a wet bandit right now. You're stealing things, okay? You're stealing things. Let Devin have his questions.
Let's get a quick power ranking on the Miami value.
Let's go Precious.
Is number one.
For me, at number 2, honestly, it's Olynyk. I like, honestly, for me, it's Olynyk, Precious, Hero. Like, that's my rankings. I like Olynyk better than Precious tonight.
And you're factoring in price, obviously.
Factoring in price and upside. Like, Olynyk could put up a 50 spot here, and nobody would sneeze at. They'd say, yeah, I mean, everybody was out.
Sure.
I mean, he scored 25 points, shot. Look, Olynyk's probably going to hit 3 or 4 threes today, right? 3 or 4. He's probably going to get more rebounds than usual. Is Precious handsy like some of these other centers that we like Mitch Robb and I mean, what if Precious is out for, what if he picks up 3 fouls in the first
And
quarter?
it's Silva season.
Yeah, so I like Olynyk. So for me, it's Olynyk, Precious, Hero, Robinson, and then it's probably Silva. Like that those are my power rankings, and I know that goes against probably everybody else's power rankings, but Olynyk's my favorite Heat player tonight.
All right, we got just about a minute left, so we'll do a couple of quick lightning rounds. You like McDermott for value on DK?
Yes.
What about Campazzo, asks Ryan.
No.
Mr. Donk says, so 3 to 4 pieces of Miami have to get there, right? Also, what about fading Hero and just jamming all the value?
I don't mind that. I do think Hero gets 40, but I still don't mind it. I like it.
Patrick wants to know, can we play Hero and Vincent together?
You can. But I don't like Vincent.
He's probably my least favorite. Maybe Vincent and Iguodala are my 2 least favorite. We've not seen a starting lineup just yet. They're projecting Vincent to start, at least according to Ira Winderman. But yeah, and again, Iguodala, they don't want to
lightning
play
round, Dean. Lightning round.
Lightning.
Love it. Just molasses lightning. Juicy wants to know for a DK tournament core: Curry, Durant, Iguodala, LMA, or Durant, Jamal Murray, Jokic, and LMA.
Number two.
Didn't have Iguodala in it.
All right, Flo wants to know 2 favorite $4,700 plays on DK. And we'll end on that one.
Oh, you give us the hardest question at the end with.
Hold on, I gotta scroll through here. Well, there aren't a whole lot of 4,700s.
No.
I think if that's the case, you just need to go down to the 3K guys. That would be, Precious, Lyles. I think that's where you go if you're looking for 4,700.
And upgrade elsewhere.
Other than that, it's Dwight Howard at 48. I don't see anybody else.
He played 30 minutes last night.
Monty Morris at 42 if Gary Harris is out.
All right, Dean, take us home.
Devin's freaking out. He's got to set up the next show. The next show, of course, is Crunch Time. If you guys are premium members, you can watch that all the way up to lock. Get yourself $10 off the first month. Devin's going to go ahead and drop that link in chat for you guys. Thank you, Devin, for making the
7:30, Dean. 7:30. Well, come to the castle at 7:30. Cardstock after lock. You got to be there.
Yeah, Cardstock after lock. It's yourself, it's Tambo, and Jeff L. Hefty's going to be on. That's going to be good times for sure. Talk some sports cards while you're splitting your teams. Will be good times. We got to go. That was Chief. That was Devin. I was Dean. This was basketball. We're out of here. Holler.